Excellent. Well, thank you for the opportunity to show you.
We should say the bands work better than the slides.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm good. Thank you for allowing us to present Thoratec's view of the future of VADs, and I'm going to stick to the future because we've already seen quite a lot of the data around HeartMate 2 specifically, which is the pump that's really currently set the benchmark for performance that any other pump, whether it's a Thoratec pump or any other company's pump, really has to match up to and hopefully exceed. So we have in excess of 13,000 of these pumps implanted to date, with in excess of 5,500 ongoing patients, lasting up to over 8 years on a single device. So in terms of the future, what we see is that the VADs, as you've already seen in discussion, the patients are going for longer, they're living active lives with better quality of life. So as we look to the future, we're really trying to look for systems which become forgettable, with improved outcomes, minimising the complications of the therapy, and minimising the amount of intervention that has to be done in terms of maintaining the system. The systems have to be more durable, they're going for longer, and the patients are having much more active lifestyles than the early patients who were restricted to the hospital. Most people would be telling us to focus on totally implanted systems, so I'll talk about that a little. It's certainly perceived as being something that's vital for the future use of these types of products. And we've also seen that the patients are becoming more and more complex in many ways, and we're looking to treat different groups of patients. At the same time, we still focus on the pump we have, the HeartMate 2, and improving some aspects of that. And we've just launched in Europe this revised controller, which is about half the size, half the weight of the previous one. It incorporates the alarm display and so on, as would normally be on the controller, on the monitor in the controller, and it also has an integrated battery. One of the complications of these systems is accidental disconnection of both batteries, which has a detrimental effect on the speed of the pump. And with this, the patient can run for up to 15 minutes or so without a battery connected. Let's get quickly through. There's another one that for HeartMate 2 we're looking at with that display on the controller actually increasing or improving the power supply and producing one that gives more mobility for the patient within, say, the home environment, even though they're still connected to mains electricity. So HeartMate 3 we've been waiting for a long time. Many of you will know that HeartMate, I don't even know why it's called HeartMate 3 anymore, because it's had several iterations, and with the success of HeartMate 2 we really decided we had to look for a pump for HeartMate 3 which we perceived would bring some clear advantages to the market, to the patients. So HeartMate 3 is a centrifugal pump. It's designed for chronic, full or partial support. It's easier to implant with no pump pocket. We're hoping that it will have the Thoratec's sintered titanium coating for improved hemocompatibility, with reduced adverse events and improving the patient's quality of life. The key to this technology and this device is really the full magnetic levitation in all planes. So much like the Centrimag pump that you may be familiar with, this is the same kind of technology where the rotor doesn't touch the inside of the pump housing, even if it's not spinning around. So it doesn't rely on the blood to support the rotor in the pump. We'll pump up to 10 litres a minute. That technology allows us to have much bigger gaps for the blood to flow through. So it's the gaps that the blood's going through around the rotor are 10 times or more bigger than any other pump using this kind of configuration. And it allows the rotor to go at very low speeds, giving partial support and making it more potentially ideal for right heart support. That technology allows us also to accelerate and decelerate the rotor very, very quickly, so you can start it and stop it, enabling the software to give us a pseudo pulsatility from the pump. And those really, the hemocompatibility, lower anticoagulation, and the pulsatility were what the clinicians, the users of these devices, were telling us would be a step forward, hopefully, in the use of these pumps. So that's just a summary of the things I've already mentioned, and it's targeted to go into clinical trials around the middle of this year. I already mentioned the concept of having a fully implanted system. That's perceived as a good thing, and I'm sure it is a good thing, to give the patient more time untethered from any external equipment, eliminate the drive line and complications of infection and so on around that, which has to be and also damage to the drive line, which is really the Achilles heel of many of these devices. On the economic side, we may be able to save costs in terms of antibiotic therapy for driveline infections and dressings and so on, may make the pumps more economical. Historically, the challenge with these devices, and many companies have had this kind of technology, including Thoratec, available to them, we haven't introduced it because of the challenges around the transcutaneous energy transmission, and specifically of the alignment of the coil externally and internally being very critical to the effectiveness of the energy transmission. Along with that, in the past, the amount of hardware that has to be implanted makes it really only suitable for larger male patients, and we'll have seen that with the Lionheart when that was commercial. So Thoratec's vision of this is to have a totally implanted system with one other unit, which is a combined battery with a capacity to allow the patient to mobilize for a period of time, with a life of the battery of about 3 years before it would have to be replaced. Integrated with the controller and integrated with the coil. We're partnering with a technology called Witricity, which actually will enable us to have an external coil which does not have to be critically aligned with the internal one. So the orientation of the external coil allows the pump to run however it's positioned, so you can have a coil somewhere in the proximity in a pocket or something without it being aligned exactly opposite. HeartMate X is the next pump, which is...
Again, 1 minute to
Okay.
line. Yeah.
Very quickly, it's HeartMate 2 miniaturized. You can see the size of it is about the size of the inflow conduit on the current HeartMate 2. It's designed to give partial support, although it will go up to 5.3 litres a minute, which in many patients would be full support. So it's designed for the right side. Different cannulation options, but to Martin Struber's point, it would have to come with a single controller, with a single set of batteries, and a single drive line, enabling you to power 2 pumps. Percutaneous heart pump is a catheter-based pump, which has the 13 French sheath introducing it. It deploys to 24 French, giving up to 4 litres of flow. And this pump is going into clinical trials any time now. Obviously targeting cardiogenic shock patients, high-risk PCIs, and so on. So, those are what we see as the future of VADs as we move forward. Thank you for your time.